As an artist, you definitely want to inspire people. So it's pretty cool when people are brave and they send you a message and they feel something, and I'm just like, wow, like that's pretty insane. I'm Fern, I'm an artist, and I make mixed media art. I'm born and raised in LA, and ever since I was a kid, I can't remember not making art. I started drawing when I was really young, and I would watch a lot of Disney movies, and I would kind of pause the movie and just draw whatever I would see, and I'd practice doing that like pretty often. So I went to an art college for a couple years. I never finished because then I started working after that, and I was just like, hey, what do I need this for? It was expensive. I was living by myself. So like being a college student, working full time, it's like super tough. So I was just like, once I got work, I was like, all right, well, all these kids just have money to be here, and I'm out here struggling. So I'm just gonna go work full time. And yeah, and I started working in design after that. Never thought about going back. I knew that I liked cartoons. I just didn't know exactly where I would fit in. And I knew that I wanted to create like an animated series when I was younger. And then actually college really showed me that that's just not what I want to do. And so I was just like, yeah, I don't want to sit here and draw the same boards over and over again. So after I got out of there, I sort of just decided that I just want to make art. Whenever Twitter first started, I remember jumping on that. It was just interesting, right? You just like, it's like shower thoughts. So you just like, whatever, you just put something out there. And before, I think it was a little bit more interactive where you're actively talking to your friends on that, where you're just like at so-and-so, like, what are you doing right now? And then you'd meet up and do something. So I would definitely post like daily sketches, and I remember posting on Tumblr, like daily sketches and stuff. And you know, the way that Tumblr worked, everyone kind of shared everybody's stuff. I guess everything works like that now, but people would reblog your stuff. And so that's kind of how everything got shared out. Like every artist, you definitely spend some time figuring out like what is your style? And what are the things you like? And what is the thing you're gonna move forward with? I started just posting like random doodles, like random things I would think about. It could be a squirrel drinking a coffee or whatever, like just an AM sketch. There wasn't really a direction. It was just practicing for 15 minutes, 20 minutes and making something fun. And now it's more like narrative driven now that I like discovered my lane and figured out what I'm gonna do. Online, you definitely get that instant feedback of, oh, people really love this or people really love that, or the opposite, like something I really loved, I'm like, oh, everyone's gonna love this, and everyone's like, whatever. So it's I don't know. At the end of the day, I think you got to do like the thing that just brings you joy. I think the goal for an artist is if you can make something without your name on it, and people know that that's so and so style, then you've created something that people recognize you for. Some people will follow along, and some people won't, but eventually when everyone's like, hey, that thing is cool, you know, like everyone kind of jumps on board anyway. So you just stay on your path. Like having that traditional background of like sketching by hand and making characters and telling a story is something that I've always really liked. And a big part of like nowadays is I think it's easy for anyone to make art, especially if things being digital. You can just like make something, change the color, and make another version of it. So for me, it was more about making everything look manufactured, but it's all done by hand. So there's elements where I create them digitally, but you know, once I'm painting on the canvas, it's all by hand, all the line work. I'm not taping anything off. It takes a lot more time. Back in the day, it used to be called cheating if you taped anything off. Now it's just tools, right? Like you're not gonna hammer a nail down with a wrench. It's easier to use the hammer. So if you're using, you know, the digital tools, it kind of makes your life easier. You can make things faster. I think man hours that goes into spending time on something, and when your art becomes a business, you really need to be conscious of how much time you're spending on things. I adapted pretty early, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that I can have all my drawings in my iPad and not have to like save paper and do all that stuff. I would have like Prismacolors and like now Copic markers, like all these different colors, and I have my sketchbook. And I always wanted to be prepared, so I'd carry like at least 100 markers in my backpack. And now I just have my iPad, the Apple Pencil, and I could just draw and, you know, pick any color, it doesn't matter, and just save it without having to save the sketchbooks and all that stuff. Ringo, his story is pursuit of happiness. Every day he kind of wakes up, he's hungry, he loves to eat apples. In a nutshell, he's always chasing for that thing. So like with my art, I kind of pose the question, you know, what's that thing that makes you happy? And I use the apple to kind of ask that question. It's like, what's your apple? In his story, he has a hard time getting it. So it's kind of, you know, we all have that thing that's like, it's right in front of us, but we just have a hard time seeing it or actually getting to it. And it's all in the process, right? It's all in the process and the pursuit of things that's the best stories. So that's kind of the thing. It's about the journey, and it's not about that thing driving that. I found myself like never happy over like the accomplishments. I'm never celebrating the small wins because I'm like, all right, what's the next thing? And I think that revelation, like realizing that I can enjoy my life now and be focused and be present on like what's happening around me now, definitely inspired a lot of like this whole narrative while I was working on it. Interesting enough, there's like brave souls out there that like, even like friends that are like write me and tell me like super inspiring, like I was in a really dark place. Like to me, that's pretty nuts because the intention wasn't to get really deep and like get into people's lives like that. It was more so just like that simple thing of like enjoy your day and just be happy, and more so just like gratitude and being grateful over the little things. So I think like around that, it's been interesting to kind of see the feedback online and get a random DM from someone that I've never met before, and they feel inspired over it. I think as an artist, you definitely want to inspire people. So it's pretty cool when people are brave and they send you a message and they feel something, and I'm just like, wow, like that's pretty insane that somebody's actually like affected by it in a positive way. I can only put so many words in a post. So the fact that somebody like out in the world is like waking up in the morning and they see something that they like or they hate it or whatever, art's supposed to kind of invoke like some kind of emotion, whether you love it or hate it. So if they feel something and then even feel compelled enough to like go and write you a message, like it's pretty awesome. Online, like you have all your friends, like I feel like everyone's been super encouraging. I haven't got a lot of hate, or maybe I think people recognize now that it's not the place to comment something negative. I've seen a lot of good. Digital space kind of opens it up even more for you, right? Like you can get more people that love it than not, and the people that just choose not to look at it, they don't opt in. It's kind of interesting to have that when before you didn't, right? Like you go paint on a wall and you get no feedback aside from your buddies. They're like, hey, that's cool. All in all, if people feel inspired by it, if you can have a good story and people can get away from whatever reality they have, whether they like it or not, and they can have that little bit of joy and escape over through art, I think that's cool.